What you're about to hear is a story about family betrayal, hidden success, and one of the most perfectly orchestrated revenge moments ever documented. But here's the thing, the revenge wasn't actually planned. It just happened. And when it did, it destroyed everything my sister thought she had won. My name is Alex, and for the last 9 years, I've watched my family believe a lie. A lie that cost me $1.5 million. A lie that made me invisible. A lie that I ended, not with anger or confrontation, but by simply existing. And when the truth came out at my sister's wedding in front of 347 guests, she understood, in a single moment, that she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. Let me take you back to 2016. I was 24 years old, and my family was solidly middle class. My parents, Jennifer and Robert, had worked their entire lives for modest stability. Dad was an accountant. Mom was a nurse. No inherited wealth, no family business. Just good people who built security through work. I had an older sister, Rebecca. By 2016, she was 30 years old. She'd married young, to a lawyer named Derek, and they lived in the kind of house that screamed we're doing okay. 2 cars. Nice kitchen. The works. And then everything changed. Our grandmother, Eleanor, passed away in early March 2016. Grand Eleanor had done something remarkable with her life. She'd married a man in finance, my grandfather, who passed in 1998. But before he died, he'd set up trusts, investments, and a portfolio that Eleanor had managed beautifully for 18 years. By the time she died, at 87, she'd accumulated roughly $4.2 million in assets. In her will, she left clear instructions. $1.5 million was designated for me, her ambitious younger grandchild. Those were her exact words. She'd seen something in me, even at 24. Some spark of drive. The remaining $1.8 million was to be split between Rebecca and my parents, split 3 ways, so $600,000 each. That's what the will said. That's what my parents believed would happen. That's what should have happened. But Rebecca had other ideas. Here's what my parents never told me at the time, and I didn't find out until years later, by accident. When Eleanor's estate began probate, Rebecca somehow, I still don't fully know how, convinced the estate attorney that she should be the executor of the will. She said she had more time and resources to manage the process. Our parents, grieving and trusting their eldest daughter, didn't object. Rebecca was the executor. She had control of everything. Over the next 8 months, she systematically liquidated Grand Eleanor's investment portfolio. Sold stocks. Liquidated bonds. Drained retirement accounts. All while telling my parents the process was moving slowly and would take time to settle. When the checks finally came, almost a year later, they were cut as follows. My parents received $300,000 each. Half of what they were promised. I received $200,000. Nearly 87% less than I was entitled to. And Rebecca? Rebecca received $2.1 million. Not the $600,000 she was promised. She told my parents, and later, my mom told me, that the markets were volatile, there were taxes and fees, and the portfolio didn't perform as well as expected. Everyone received less than anticipated. My parents, who understood perhaps 10% of investment language, believed her. I didn't even know anything was wrong. I was finishing my final year of university, barely surviving on the $200,000 while paying tuition, rent, and living costs. By the time I graduated, I had maybe $50,000 left. For 9 years, no one in my family knew what really happened. And then, by pure chance, my mother found something. In 2024, our parents were downsizing their home. My mom was cleaning out old files when she found a printed email, one she'd never seen before. It was from Eleanor's estate attorney, sent to Rebecca in 2016. It contained the original will, the portfolio valuations, and, most critically, a breakdown of what each beneficiary should have received. $1.5 million for me. $600,000 for Rebecca. My mom called me immediately. She was in tears. Alex, I need to tell you something, and I think your sister took from you. I think she took from all of us. That's when I learned the truth. That's when I understood that for 9 years, I'd been cheated. That Rebecca had stolen from a grieving family. That she'd lied to my parents' faces, knowing they wouldn't question her. And I said something to my mom that would define the next 2 years. Mom, don't tell her I know, don't say anything to anyone, let me handle this my way. People ask me now, didn't you immediately confront her? Didn't you want to sue her right away? And the answer is no. Not immediately. When I found out the truth, I was 32 years old. I'd been working for 8 years since graduation. I'd started 2 failed businesses. I was exhausted, disillusioned, and honestly, I was starting to believe that I wasn't as ambitious or capable as Gran Eleanor had thought I was. The stolen $1.5 million would have changed everything. It would have been a down payment on a house. A safety net for business ventures. Security I didn't have. But in that moment, learning what Rebecca did, something shifted in me. It wasn't rage. It wasn't vindictive anger. It was clarity. I realized something. Rebecca had stolen the money because she didn't believe she could earn it. She'd taken a shortcut. She'd betrayed her family because she was afraid of struggling. And I realized I was doing the same thing. I was afraid. I was struggling with 2 failed businesses, and instead of pushing through, I was about to give up. Gran Eleanor had believed in me, enough to leave me $1.5 million. Not because I was special, but because she saw something, a capacity to build, to create, to achieve despite obstacles. The money had been stolen. But the capacity Eleanor believed in? That was still inside me. That night, I made a decision. I decided I would spend the next phase of my life proving her right. Not to punish Rebecca. Not to get revenge. To honor Eleanor's belief in me. I decided I would build something so significant, so undeniable, that when the truth came out, and it would, eventually, Rebecca's theft would look pathetic. Not $1.5 million pathetic. But millions of dollars pathetic. The next morning, I called my business partner of 3 years, his name was Marcus, and I said, I need to tell you something, that I need to ask you something. I told him about the inheritance theft. About Rebecca. About everything. Marcus listened, and then he said something I'll never forget. So now you've got 1.5 million reasons to build something incredible? No, I said. Now I've got one, Eleanor's belief that I could. That night, I made a choice. I decided I would. 1. Never mention the theft to Rebecca. No confrontations. No aggressive legal moves. No family drama. She would never see it coming. 2. Build something so large that the theft wouldn't even be notable compared to what I'd create. 3. When the truth came out naturally, and I had faith it would, the contrast would speak for itself. I didn't know then that the truth coming out naturally would be at Rebecca's wedding. Fate had a plan I couldn't have scripted better. But from that morning forward, I had a mission. Build a $45 million company in 8 years. Work in silence. Let Rebecca live her lie. And then, when the moment was right, let the world see the difference between stolen money and earned success. This isn't a story about revenge. This is a story about what happens when you decide to bet on yourself instead of betting against someone else. And that decision changed everything. From August 2024 onward, everything changed. Marcus and I had been running a small digital marketing firm, nothing special. We had 12 employees, around $800,000 in annual revenue, and we were surviving. But we weren't building anything of significance. That August, we made a pivot that would define the next 8 years. We stopped chasing small clients. We stopped competing on price. We decided to go all in on a single market, SaaS companies. And we decided to position ourselves as the best at growth marketing for SaaS founders. The plan was radical. Year 1, 2024 to 2025, build credibility. Audit our existing clients, identify success stories. Document 3 to 5 case studies showing 300% or higher growth outcomes. Build a personal brand on LinkedIn. This was my job. Hire 3 senior strategists from competing agencies. Target, raise revenue to $3.2 million. I personally spent 6 months building my LinkedIn presence. I posted about SaaS growth strategy. Lessons from building a high-growth marketing firm. How startups scale from 1 million to 10 million annual recurring revenue. Every single day. No exceptions. Marcus called it the Visibility Project. I called it building the narrative for what was to come. By February 2025, just 6 months in, I had 47,000 followers on LinkedIn. Industry podcasts started reaching out. Other agency founders were asking for advice. VCs were watching. And Rebecca? Rebecca had no idea any of this was happening. From her perspective, I was still figuring things out. Still the ambitious younger sibling who hadn't quite made it. Still the one Gran Eleanor believed in, but who'd never quite proven it. Which was perfect. That's exactly what I wanted her to think. By the end of year 1, our revenue had tripled to $2.8 million. We'd hired 5 more team members. And I was getting invited to speak at SaaS conferences. Rebecca sent me a birthday text. A generic happy birthday, hope you're doing well, message. She had no idea what was coming. Years 2 and 3 were where everything accelerated. We landed 3 enterprise SaaS clients, each spending $500,000 or more annually on our services. We hired talent from Salesforce, HubSpot, and Slack. We stopped being an agency and became something different, a growth operating partner for venture-backed SaaS companies. By the end of 2026, we'd hit $8.3 million in revenue. By the end of 2027, we'd hit $18.4 million. And during this time, I was very intentional about something. I stayed under the radar with my family. I didn't brag. I didn't post family photos with the new Tesla I'd bought. I didn't talk about the investment I'd made in a second business. I didn't mention the waterfront house in Seattle I'd purchased. Why? Because I wanted Rebecca to feel safe in her lie. I wanted her to believe that I'd accepted my role as the unsuccessful younger sibling. That I'd made peace with what happened. That I'd moved on. Every family gathering, Thanksgiving, Christmas, my parents' anniversary dinner, I showed up as the same person. Humble. Working hard. Not quite there yet. And Rebecca? She got more successful in her own mind. By 2027, she and Derek had paid off their house, renovated their kitchen again, bought a second vacation property. They had $2.1 million from the inheritance, plus Derek's lawyer salary, plus smart investments. They were living beautifully. But they had no idea I was building a company that would be worth more than their entire net worth combined. The invisibility was the strategy. The silence was the weapon. By 2028, it was clear our company was on a trajectory to unicorn status. We'd been approached by 3 venture capital firms about funding. We turned them all down. We didn't need venture capital. We were growing profitably at 40% year over year. We didn't need to dilute. We didn't need outsiders. By 2029, our revenue had hit $31.2 million. By 2030, we crossed $45 million. We became profitable enough that I could take a $2.4 million salary annually. Marcus took $1.8 million. We paid out bonuses to our team. We invested in new ventures. And here's the critical thing. None of this was public in a way that would reach Rebecca. I didn't make Forbes 30 under 40. I didn't do interviews on CNBC. I didn't post about company milestones on social media. The SaaS founders and VCs knew what we'd built. The industry knew. But the broader public, and critically, my family, had no idea. In their minds, I was still that ambitious kid who was building something. Meanwhile, I'd built a $45 million company. Then, in September 2030, my mom called. Rebecca's engaged, she's planning a huge wedding for next June, she wants it to be perfect. A wedding. A moment where the entire family would gather. Where Rebecca's success would be on display. Where she could present to the world the narrative she'd constructed. I'm the successful older sister, I made smart decisions, I'm thriving. And that's when I knew. This is the moment. Not because I was going to confront her. Not because I was going to expose her in some dramatic way. But because at that wedding, people would ask questions. About what each sibling was doing. About success and achievement. About who'd really made it. And the truth would have no choice but to emerge. I had 8 months to prepare. 8 months to ensure that when the question came up naturally, and it would, I'd be ready with an answer. The wedding was planned for June 15, 2031. At the Grandview Estate, a $10 million property overlooking the Oregon coast. 347 guests were invited. Rebecca and Derek had spared nothing. Catering cost $80,000. The venue rental was $35,000. The flowers alone were $12,000. This was going to be a spectacle. 3 weeks before the wedding, I made a strategic decision. I called my mom and said, "Hey, I want to do something special for Rebecca. I want to give a speech at the reception, something that really celebrates her." My mom was thrilled. "Oh, Alex, that's so sweet. Rebecca will love that." She had no idea what was coming. For the next 2 weeks, I worked with a professional speechwriter, not to craft some aggressive expose, but to craft something that would be remembered. Something that would be recorded, shared, and become part of the family legacy. The speech was going to be 5 minutes long. In those 5 minutes, I would celebrate Rebecca's achievements, genuine praise. Tell the family story. Mention Gran Eleanor. Mention my own journey. And then, completely naturally, reference my current work. But here's the key. I wouldn't frame it as revenge. I would frame it as a reflection on what Eleanor believed about each of us. On the different paths we took. On what success actually means. I knew that once I mentioned my company's valuation, people would start asking questions. And those questions would inevitably lead back to, where did Rebecca's money come from? Which would lead to, the inheritance. Which would lead to, wait, Alex was supposed to get $1.5 million, wasn't he? Which would lead to the only logical conclusion, she stole it. I wasn't going to say those words. The math would. June 15, 2031, 2:47 in the afternoon. I'm standing in the groom's suite at the Grandview Estate, adjusting my tie. I'm nervous, not because of what's coming, but because I'm acutely aware of what this moment means. My parents arrive shortly after. My mom hugs me. She says, "I'm so proud of you, honey, that you're here to celebrate your sister." If only she knew. The ceremony is beautiful. Rebecca walks down the aisle in an $8,000 custom wedding dress. Derek cries. It's genuinely touching. The day of someone's wedding should be about love and commitment, not about settling old scores. And I mean that. Throughout the ceremony and the cocktail hour, I'm genuinely happy for Rebecca. The wedding itself is not the betrayal. Rebecca's joy is real. But the lie underneath it all? That's what this day is about to uncover. Reception begins. 6:47 in the evening. Toasts start. Derek's best man talks about Derek's achievements at his law firm. Rebecca's maid of honor talks about Rebecca's beauty and kindness. My dad stands up and says something that makes everyone tear up, something about watching both his children grow into adults and find their own paths. Then it's my turn. The DJ calls my name. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Alex Richardson, the bride's younger sibling." I stand up. I walk to the microphone. The reception quiets down. I can see Rebecca in the front row. She's beaming. She's genuinely happy. She has no idea what's about to happen. I begin. "Hi everyone. I'm Alex, Rebecca's younger brother. I just want to say, Rebecca, Derek, congratulations. This day is beautiful. You two are beautiful together. And I mean it when I say I'm honored to celebrate with you." Growing up, I had a grandmother named Eleanor. Some of you in this room knew her. She was a remarkable woman. She survived the Depression. She built a beautiful life. And before she passed away in 2016, she did something that shaped who I became. She believed in me. She left me a note in her will. She said I was an ambitious younger grandchild. I was only 24 when she wrote that. I hadn't proven anything. I'd failed at nothing and succeeded at nothing. But Eleanor saw something. She saw potential. Eleanor left each of her heirs an inheritance. And she wanted us to use that money in a way that reflected who we were. That reflected our values. For the last 9 years, I've been building a business. A SaaS growth marketing firm. And I'm incredibly proud of what we've accomplished. This past year, we crossed $45 million in annual revenue. We've become one of the fastest growing marketing agencies in North America. We've helped over 200 founders scale their companies from startup to unicorn status. $45 million revenue in a single year. And Rebecca, I want to congratulate you too. Because you've built a beautiful life. A stable life. A life with security and love. That's worth celebrating. But I want to tell everyone here something. I want to tell you about the different ways we can succeed. Eleanor believed that each of us would find our own path. That each of us had something unique to contribute. She believed in Rebecca. She believed in me. She believed in my parents. And she left us money to help us find those paths. Now, I'm standing here, having built a $45 million company. And I want to ask Rebecca something, in front of all of you. Do you remember the inheritance? Do you remember Eleanor's belief in each of us? The room goes completely silent. Rebecca's face has gone white. She knows, in that moment, that I know. I continue. I received $1.5 million. Or at least, I was supposed to. Eleanor was very clear about that. She left it to me to build, to create, to achieve. Somehow, I ended up with $200,000. A wonderful gift. But not what Eleanor intended. I want to know, in front of everyone here, where the other $1.3 million went. The room erupts. Not in anger. In shock. In realization. Rebecca stands up. She's shaking. She says, I don't know what you're talking about. But everyone in the room knows what I'm talking about. Do the math. Eleanor left me $1.5 million. I got $200,000. The difference is $1.3 million. And Rebecca's inheritance was supposed to be $600,000. She received $2.1 million. That means she took $1.3 million from me. And $600,000 from my parents. In front of 347 witnesses, Rebecca's entire life, the house, the renovations, the vacation property, the wedding, was now understood to be built on stolen money. And Derek, her new husband, was just learning about it for the first time. The weeks following the wedding were some of the most intense of my life. Not for me, for Rebecca. Her life, as she'd constructed it, began collapsing in real time. Week 1, the truth goes public. The YouTube video of my speech had reached the trending page. News outlets picked it up. Inheritance theft exposed at wedding. $1.5 million theft revealed on live microphone. Woman steals family inheritance, gets exposed by younger brother's $45 million success. Did she steal $1.5 million? The math doesn't lie. Rebecca's identity wasn't initially revealed. But social media is incredibly good at finding people. Within 3 days, journalists and Reddit users had identified her. Her name, her address, her LinkedIn profile, all exposed. She deleted her LinkedIn profile. She stopped answering calls. She closed her social media accounts. But the damage was already done. Week 2, the family response. My parents did something that, in many ways, was more devastating than anything I could have done legally. They filed a formal complaint with the Oregon State Bar Association. The Bar Association oversees attorneys. Rebecca's inheritance had involved the estate attorney, the one she'd convinced to let her be executor. The association opened an investigation into whether the attorney had colluded with Rebecca or failed in their fiduciary duties. Additionally, my parents engaged a forensic accountant. They spent $15,000 having Eleanor's entire estate audited. The forensic accountant produced a 47-page report documenting exactly what Rebecca had done. The original portfolio, $4.2 million. The dates of liquidation, March 2016 through November 2016. The distribution amounts, exactly what I'd calculated. The inconsistencies, Rebecca had transferred funds to personal accounts in a manner that showed clear intent to deceive. That report was then provided to a civil attorney. And that's when Rebecca got serious. She called my parents. She offered to pay back half of what she'd stolen, $950,000. That was the settlement she was hoping for. Half the money, and the case would go away. My parents declined. They wanted full repayment plus interest. Rebecca then offered $1.3 million, full repayment to me, but not to them. Again declined. Finally, faced with the prospect of litigation and the Bar Association investigation, Rebecca agreed to 1. Full repayment of $1.9 million. $1.3 million to me, $600,000 to my parents. Within 18 months. 2. Interest penalty of $285,000 for improper asset management. 3. Agreement to pay 50% of legal and forensic accounting fees, approximately $75,000. 4. A public written apology to our family in Eleanor's memory. Total, Rebecca was paying back $2.26 million to fix her theft. She had to sell the vacation property, $850,000. She had to refinance the house, which had $400,000 in equity. Derek, her new husband, was horrified. He hired his own attorney. Their marriage, which had lasted 6 weeks at that point, was effectively over. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. And it shows something powerful. When you focus on building something real, the world rewards you. Automatically. Without you having to manipulate or scheme. Following the wedding and the viral speech, my company's profile exploded. Venture capital firms were now calling daily. They wanted to invest. They wanted ownership. They wanted to join our legendary growth story. The story of a founder who was wronged, stayed silent, built something massive, and then, only when forced, revealed the truth. That's not a business story. That's a mythology story. Within 3 months of the wedding, we'd been approached with acquisition offers from 3 major marketing and advertising conglomerates. Omnicom Group offered $340 million for 100% acquisition. WPP offered $285 million for 100% acquisition. IPG, Interpublic Group, offered $298 million for 80% acquisition with founder retention. All of these were happening because of the media attention. Because of the story. Because the narrative had shifted from ambitious startup founder to wronged entrepreneur overcomes theft and builds empire. But here's what I did. I turned them all down. Not because the valuations weren't good, they were excellent. But because I'd spent 8 years building something that was mine. And I wasn't interested in selling the narrative. I was interested in building the company. What I did do was take a strategic investment from a venture capital firm, a $200 million Series B funding round. This gave us capital to aggressively expand internationally, hire top talent, and scale even faster. But I retained 68% ownership. The company remained mine. By the end of 2031, we'd hit $67 million in revenue. By 2032, we were projecting $120 million. And every single analyst, every single investor, was tracking it because of the story. Because of the narrative. But unlike Rebecca, who'd taken stolen money and built nothing truly meaningful with it, I was taking capital and building something that was creating real value. For our team. For our clients. For the market. That's the difference. That's what Eleanor understood when she said I was ambitious. It wasn't about winning. It was about building. Rebecca's life, as it exists today, and we're now in late 2032, more than a year after the wedding, is not what she thought it would be. Her marriage. Derek filed for divorce in October 2031. He couldn't reconcile with a wife who'd lied to him about her entire financial situation. He also couldn't understand how she'd rationalize stealing from her own family. He took $400,000 in the settlement, money he was entitled to from the house's equity. He's now in Portland, married to someone else, and by all accounts, he's moved on. Rebecca sees their daughters, they had 2 young kids, on alternating weekends. Her career. Rebecca was a consultant for a healthcare firm. She was laid off in September 2031, not directly because of the scandal, but because her company wanted to distance itself from any negative publicity. She's now unemployed and actively seeking work. But any hiring manager Googles her name and finds woman steals $1.5 million family inheritance as the first result. How many companies want that on their team? Her social status. The neighborhood where Rebecca lived? She's still there, but she's isolated. Other women at the country club know what happened. Other parents at her kids' school know. She's become that woman. Not maliciously, people aren't cruel. But she's been categorized. She's no longer the successful older sister. She's the one who stole from her family and got caught. Her financial situation. She's in the process of paying back $2.26 million. She's sold property. She's refinanced. She's cutting expenses. The house is worth $1.8 million, but the mortgage and equity lines of credit total $1.2 million now. In 5 years, when the payments are done, she'll have no significant net worth. She'll be starting over, at age 45, with the stain of her theft permanently attached to her name. Her psychological state. I don't wish suffering on Rebecca. I truly don't. But she's suffering. She's made multiple therapy appointments. She's dealing with depression and anxiety. She tried to call me several times in the months after the wedding, wanting to explain or apologize. I didn't call her back. Not out of cruelty, but because there's nothing left to say. She had 9 years to come clean. She didn't. She chose the lie. And now she's living with the consequences of that choice. What she could have done. This is the sad part. If Rebecca had simply told the truth in 2016, none of this would have happened. My parents would have been upset, yes. But they would have forgiven her. They always do. They would have worked out a payment plan. Rebecca would have paid back the extra $600,000 over several years, and everyone would have moved on. Instead, she chose to double down on the lie for 9 years. And then, when the truth came out, publicly, at her wedding, in front of 347 witnesses, it destroyed everything. Where I stand with Rebecca. I don't hate her. I'm not angry at her anymore. But I also have no relationship with her. She's my sister, but she's not family to me. Not anymore. And that, I think, is more painful for her than any lawsuit could have been. Because you can appeal a lawsuit. You can pay back money. But you can't undo the erosion of trust. You can't undo 9 years of lies. You can't undo a public humiliation in front of 347 people that was then watched by 12 million people online. That's the real consequence. Not the money. Not the marriage. Not the job loss. It's the understanding that she destroyed something irreplaceable. Her integrity. People ask me now, do you regret revealing the theft at the wedding? Do you wish you'd handled it differently? And honestly? No. I don't regret it. But not because I feel vindicated or victorious. I regret nothing because of what the entire experience taught me. On revenge. Revenge is often framed as this explosive, satisfying moment. But what I learned is that real satisfaction doesn't come from watching someone suffer. It comes from building something real. The moment I stood up at that wedding and revealed the truth, I wasn't getting revenge on Rebecca. I was honoring Eleanor's belief in me. I was completing something I'd set out to do. Prove that her judgment had been correct. On silence. For 8 years, I built in silence. No bragging. No social media posts about my success. No look at me energy. And that silence was the most powerful strategic tool I had. Because when the truth came out, there was no narrative of Alex versus Rebecca. There was only the math. And the math was undeniable. On money. I've now built a company that's generating over $100 million in annual revenue. I have more money than Rebecca will ever have. But here's what I learned. Money isn't what made me feel successful. What made me feel successful was building something that worked. Something that created value for hundreds of founders. Something that Eleanor would have been proud of. The original $1.5 million would have been life-changing. But the $45 million plus company that I built without it? That's something that can never be taken from me. On family. This is the hardest part. Rebecca is still my sister. My parents still love her, even though she hurt them. But there's a category of harm that's hard to recover from. Intentional betrayal. When someone you love deliberately lies to you, again and again, for years, it changes the relationship forever. There's forgiveness, perhaps, but there's not trust. And without trust, what's a family? On timing. The wedding wasn't planned as my moment. It just happened to be the moment when everything converged. 8 years of silent building. A family gathering with 347 witnesses. A time when people would naturally ask about everyone's lives. And me, ready with a true answer. I believe there's a kind of cosmic justice in that timing. Not because I planned it, but because I lived honorably for 8 years, and the universe offered me a platform to tell the truth at the exact moment when it would matter most. I didn't seek revenge. I sought excellence. And excellence, lived publicly, is a form of justice that doesn't require cruelty. If you're watching this story and thinking about someone who's wronged you, someone who stole from you, lied to you, betrayed you, I want to leave you with something. There are 2 paths forward. Path 1, seek revenge. Confront them immediately. Try to punish them. Spend your energy and emotional capital on making them suffer. Path 2, let that wrong transform you. Let it fuel your ambition. Let it clarify what you actually want. And then spend the next years becoming undeniable. I chose path 2. And I don't say this with arrogance, I say it with humility. Because the worst thing you can do to someone who's wronged you is show them what they could have achieved if they hadn't made that choice. If Rebecca had trusted her own ability, she didn't need to steal. If she'd taken the $600,000 Eleanor left her and invested it wisely and worked hard, she could have built something significant. Instead, she stole. And now she's defined by the theft, not by anything she's built. Eleanor believed in both of us. She believed I had the capacity to build something great. What if she was right? What if I do have that capacity? I decided to find out. And I spent 8 years finding out. And the answer was, yes. But I only found that answer by choosing to build instead of destroy. To Grant Eleanor, wherever you are. Thank you for believing. You were right. To my parents. Thank you for supporting me, even when you didn't know the whole story. You taught me that integrity matters more than money. To Marcus, my business partner. Thank you for believing in the vision. We built something incredible. To my team. Thank you for creating value every single day. You're the reason this company exists. To Rebecca. I'm sad it had to end this way. But I hope someday you understand that the path forward isn't about paying back the money. It's about becoming the person Eleanor believed you could be. You still can. It's not too late. And to everyone watching. If you're in a position where you've been wronged, where you've been cheated, where you've been overlooked, remember this. Your response is not about destroying the person who wronged you. Your response is about building something so significant that their wrong becomes irrelevant. That their theft becomes a footnote. That their lie becomes a catalyst for your success. That's what Eleanor taught me. And that's what I'm passing forward. Build something real. Build it with integrity. Build it with patience. And when the moment comes, and it will, let the truth speak for itself. Because the truth, lived honorably, is the most powerful form of justice.